What is going on, guys? It's Punch here, and today I'm going to bring you guys the highly improved, updated version of the Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for Rainbow Six Siege. If you guys managed to catch and follow along with the previous guide I provided for this game around about 6 or 7 months ago or so, since then there's been some vast improvements to the base game itself. Some optimizations have been applied via updates, and there are also a lot more optimizations we can apply to the game to ensure that we're getting the best results possible in a faster and easier manner. Whether you guys have followed my content before or not, or this is the first video of mine you've come across, this video is aiming to give you the best FPS possible within inside of Rainbow Six Siege, whilst keeping the frame lag to a minimum, lowering down your input lag, and helping reduce or eliminate any stuttering you might be having inside of the game to ensure that you're getting the best experience possible, regardless of what sort of hardware you're running on. Inside of this video, there'll be tailored configs all the way from ultra low-end systems all the way up to high-end systems, so no matter what sort of PC you're running on, whether that be a potato or a brand new $2,000 PC, you'll be seeing improvements across the board, and you should be happy with the results from this video. That being said, guys, if you guys are happy with the results of this video, a like would be deeply appreciated. If you guys can post your results down in the comment section below as well, alongside any questions, queries, or suggestions for future videos, that'd be deeply appreciated, as it is always fantastic to hear from you guys. And one last thing before we start with the video, I just want to let you guys know, for any of my frequent followers out there, that I've recently started up a Patreon. Link can be found in the description down below. But that's just there for any of you guys who frequently follow my content or enjoy what I do and find it helps out a lot and you wish to further support the channel. You can do it through the Patreon below if you wish to do so. Again, it's not necessary, it's just there for you guys who wish to further support the channel and keep me being able to do what I do at a more frequent basis. Right, so starting off in the video, what you guys need to do is navigate down into the description down below and you'll find a download link for the Rainbow Six Vegas FPS Increase Pack. Should take you to Dropbox. Go ahead and download the file. Once you've downloaded the file, you'll then need either 7-zip or WinRAR. They will also be included down in the description below, or you can just Google either of the programs. So download either 7-zip or WinRAR if you don't have it, so you can extract this file. Once you guys have downloaded the file from my pack down below, simply put it onto your desktop and it should look just like this. Once the file's on your desktop, simply go ahead and right click on the file and click the extract here. Once you guys have then extracted the file to your desktop, a folder will then appear with a similar name. You can then go ahead and double click on the folder, and then within inside of the folder, you'll then notice that there are a couple of folders with some files alongside them. Inside of here, you'll have the game files folder, the optimizations folder, and the credits.txt. Within inside of the credits.txt, you can find links to the programs and the optimizations included in here, which we're using third-party programs, so you guys can go ahead and find the original authors of those, pay credits over towards them, and check out the latest updates for those programs. It's not essential that you go into the credits.txt, but if you wish to find some original links within inside of there, that's the place and where you can do it. Right, so starting off, what we're going to be doing is going ahead and actually customizing our in-game settings to ensure that we're running the best settings for the best FPS possible, depending on what our machines are. I've also included a text file within inside of the game files folder, so double click on the game files folder, and you'll see a text file in here called something along the lines of Rainbow Settings. It might be worded slightly differently when I go to upload this file, so just click on the text file within inside of here by double clicking, and you'll be given a notepad that looks similar to this. And inside of here, you guys have the text rundown depending on what sort of config you're running on. If you guys wish to just look at this out of simplicity, or you just want to follow along with this to help you follow along with the settings inside of this video. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going ahead and actually deciding on what sort of config we're going to be running on, whether that be the ultra low end, medium end, or high end config. So depending on what sort of system you're running on, you're going to have to be honest with yourself and decide whether or not what category you put your system under. So for me, I'm going to be installing this to my high end PC, but just to my left over there, I've also tested these configs on that. I have my low end PC, which I've installed the low end config to. But for the purposes of this tutorial and the fact I'm recording this on my high end PC, I'm going to be going with the high end config. So once you guys have decided which config you're going to be going ahead with, we're simply going to go ahead and actually boot into Rainbow Six. So depending on whether or not you have it on Uplay or Steam, go ahead and simply boot into the game. Now that we've booted into the game and we are on the main menu, we can then proceed to actually setting our in-game settings according to the config in which we're going to use. So to do this, simply go ahead into the top right hand corner and click on the settings icon. Then go down to options. And then within inside of here, we're going to be starting off by going over to display. Now, for any of you guys who are running on the low end config or the ultra low end config, make sure that you do go to your resolution option within inside of here and follow along with the resolution option within inside of the text file. I'll also include this on the right hand side of the screen now to make this simple for you guys, but just for example, if you guys are running on the ultra low end config, you're going to be wanting to run your in-game resolution as 1024 by 768. You can do this by going over to the resolution option found here and going right to the bottom slider. For any of you guys running on the low end config, we're going to be wanting to set our resolution to 1600 by 900. And if you guys are running on the medium end config, you're going to want to set this native to your monitor or 1920 by 1080. So to do this, just simply go all the way up to the top and find out whichever that top option is for you guys. Most of you, it will probably be 1920 by 1080, and just set it to that. I also recommend setting your display mode to full screen. I'm keeping mine to windowed at the moment just because I'm recording this and I don't want anything to mess up. But for you guys who are watching this video, make sure that you set it to full screen. Outside of there, you can then come down to field of view and turn that to whichever you wish to do so. Although the higher the field of view you're going to be setting, the lower FPS you're going to be getting. Once you guys are then done inside of there, tweaking around with the settings and setting them to which config you're going to be using, make sure you press the apply button in the bottom right hand side, and we can then navigate over to the graphics tab. Inside of here, we're going to be going to the overall quality tab and setting it to custom at the top right. And then within inside of here, we're then going to be matching the options to the ones in which we're going to be using for our configs. So again, navigate over to the text file or look on the right hand side of the screen now. And then we're simply just going to be matching the name of these options to the option they're set to on the right hand side. So for example, if you guys are going with the low end config, you see texture quality over here is set to low. Texture filtering is set to anisotropic 2 times. So we just simply go ahead and copy the settings within inside of here. Again, you can look on the right hand side of the screen now and you'll see a basic rundown as to what you want to set everything to, depending on what config you're running on. Might sound a little bit complicated, but it's actually very simple. You just simply copy the settings on screen, depending on which config you're going for. So for me, seeming I'm going with the high-end config because I'm running on my high-end PC, I'm going to be matching these settings for the high-end config. So for me, that's going to be texture quality, setting that to high. Texture filtering is going to be set to 4 times. LOD quality is going to be set to medium. Shading quality is going to be set to low. Shadow quality is also going to be set to low, but you can turn this all the way up to high if you wish to do so, as it does help spot enemies, but it does come with an FPS hit. I personally don't like it, and I personally prefer the FPS from this, so I'm going to be setting that to low. My reflections are then going to be set to low. Ambient occlusion is going to be set to off. Lens effects off. Zoom in depth of field is set to off, and anti-aliasing is also set to off. So those are the settings for the high-end config, so I'm simply going to be applying those now. So I'm going to be pressing apply in the bottom right-hand side. And for any of you guys who are running on the low-end config or ultra-low-end config, to set these options within inside of here to change your screen resolution, you simply set your anti-aliasing mode here to TAA on the left-hand side, and then you set your render scaling and TAA sharpness to match the ones within inside of the config settings. So if you're going with low-end, you're going to be going with a 60% render scale, so setting this to 60. And you're going to be setting the TAA sharpness all the way up to 80. But again, only apply the TAA anti-aliasing mode and render scaling modes if you're running on the low-end config or the ultra-low-end config. For anyone else, I recommend turning anti-aliasing to off. So once you guys have then applied all of the settings for the config in which you're planning on using, simply go to the bottom right-hand side and press apply. And last but not least, within inside of the game, you guys can navigate over to the gameplay tab found here on the top left-hand side and go to display game info and turn this to the on position. That way that you get this nice FPS counter and ping counter in the bottom left-hand side, so you can actually see what FPS you are getting. Once you guys are done tweaking around with everything inside of there and setting your game config files up, we can then go ahead and actually exit out of the game. Proceeding on from there, we're then going to be applying some Exe Fixes to the game application itself to ensure that it's running to the best of its ability, and we can disable any excess Windows optimizations that often hurt performance within inside of games like this. So to do this, it's very simple. Simply go down to Uplay or Steam. I'm going to be showing you how to do it on Uplay first. Go to Rainbow Six Siege on Uplay, scroll down to the bottom left and click on the Properties key. Within inside of there, and then navigate over to where it says Local Files and click Open Folder. For you guys running on Steam, it will be a very similar process. Just simply go ahead and navigate down to Steam. Wherever Rainbow Six Vegas might be installed for you guys, I don't actually have it on Steam, so I'm just going to use another game as an example. Go ahead, right click on Rainbow Six Siege, go down to Properties, then go to the Local Files tab found here at the top, and then click Browse Local Files. When the folder then opens up, simply navigate all the way down until you find a game exe, which should be called Rainbow Six, and it should be an application file. Once you found that application file, simply go ahead and right click on it, and go to Properties. Then we're going to be navigating over to the Compatibility tab found here at the top, and we're going to be checking the options for Override High DPI Scaling Behavior Performed By, and also Disable Full Screen Optimizations. Once you guys have then checked both of those, simply go ahead and press Apply, and then press OK. Then you can simply go ahead and exit out of the game files, and we can then minimize Uplay or Steam. And another tip for any of you guys who are running the game through Steam, what you guys can actually go ahead and do is right click on the game on Steam, go down to the Properties tab again, and this time we're going to be going to the General tab, and we're actually going to be unchecking Enable Steam Overlay whilst in game, and use Desktop Theater whilst using Steam VR. The reason we're going to be doing that is because we're going to be using the Uplay system within inside of the game to invite people anyway, and this just creates excess clutter and load within inside of the game. It's not major, but this will actually harm performance, and it's better off just turning it off. And then at this point in the video, you're pretty much done applying all of the game-specific optimizations within inside of this video. You guys can be done with the video at this moment in time if you wish to do so, but if you guys want to carry on and actually apply some operating system-specific optimizations to help further increase our game FPS as well, it is highly recommended that you carry on watching this video. I'm going to be showing you guys how to perform some basic system maintenance, whilst also applying some game modes within inside of Windows to be sure that our game applications are getting the most amount of the resources on side of the system to ensure that we're getting the best FPS possible, the lowest amount of frame lag, and also reduce reducing any stuttering we might be experiencing. So starting off, before we do any of the tweaks within inside of this video, we're actually going to be enabling a system restore point, and the main reason I'm going to be doing this is just to give you guys peace of mind, so in case you might mess up anything, or your system doesn't respond very well to any of the tweaks you're going to be doing, or you're just not happy with the performance, or you just wish to revert everything back for any reason. Even if you are happy with the results, you just wish to revert back all the changes. If you wish to do so for any reason, we can do that with just a couple of clicks of a button, just to stay on the safe side. You guys shouldn't need this, but I do recommend doing it, as it just gives you guys peace of mind and you can revert everything back if you wish to do so. So to do this, it's very quick and easy to do. Simply navigate down to the bottom left hand side and then type in restore. And then on the side of here, click on the create a restore point. Once the create a restore point has then opened up, simply go ahead and navigate to your local disk C drive and click on it once. Then go to the configure key found here. Inside of here, make sure that turn on system protection is checked at the top, and then go to the disk usage slider and set this to around about 3%. Then go ahead and press apply in the bottom right hand side and then press OK. Once you guys have set all of that, simply then go ahead and navigate to the bottom and press create. Inside of here, you can then name your restore point. I'm going to be calling it backup. You can call it anything you wish to do so, and then press the create button. It will then notify you that the restore point was created successfully, and you can simply go ahead and press close and then press OK. Now from any point onwards of this video, you guys can go ahead and revert everything back at the end of this video if you wish to do so. Again, for the reasons I've stated beforehand, it's just a safeguard in case anything goes wrong or you wish to revert anything back for any reasons. But for the majority of you guys watching, you should be more than happy with the results of this video, but you always have the option there and it's always best to be safe. So starting off with the optimizations, what we're going to be going ahead and doing is actually going down into the bottom left hand side and we're going to be typing in run. Inside of there, we're then going to be pressing enter, and on the side of the box that opens up, we're then going to be typing in reg edit, just like so, and pressing enter again. With inside of here, the registry editor for Windows will then open up. It might look a little bit confusing, but it is very simple to follow along with. So starting off with inside of here, we're going to be navigating over to the H key local machine tab, double clicking, then going inside of the software tab inside of there, scrolling all the way down until we find a folder called Microsoft, double clicking on Microsoft, then scrolling all the way down until we find a folder called Windows NT, which is just here. Double click, going to current version by double clicking, then scrolling all the way down until we then find a folder inside of there called multimedia. Double click on multimedia, then click on system profile once. Then once you guys have clicked on system profile once, we're then going to be navigating over to the right hand side to this space here, and we're actually going to be going ahead and right clicking, selecting new and going to dword 32-bit value. Click on dword 32-bit value, then on the side of here we're going to be calling this key system responsiveness. Just like so, you guys can actually navigate down to the description down below if you wish to just copy and paste this to make sure you don't have any spelling mistakes and you get it completely right. Once you guys have then got that, go ahead and press enter. If you guys already have the system responsiveness key within inside of your PC, that's absolutely fine. Once you guys have got it set up, just simply go ahead and double click on it. Then go to the value data found here and set the value data to 0. Make sure the base is set to hexadecimal, and once that's then set, go ahead and press OK. Then once we're then done with that, we're then going to be navigating back to the left hand side, and this time going into system profile by double clicking, going into tasks, then going down to the games folder with inside of here and double clicking once again. Now with inside of here, you're then going to be noticing a bunch of keys appearing. This might look a little bit confusing, but it's actually very, very simple to do, and we're only going to be tweaking a couple of these. So starting off, we're going to be going ahead to the priority key by double clicking on priority, setting the priority to 6, then pressing OK. Then going over to GPU priority, double clicking, setting the value data to 8 this time, pressing OK. Then going down to scheduling category, then on the side of here it's usually going to be set to medium by default, just like so, but we're actually going to be setting this to high, which is HIGH, and then pressing OK. And then once you guys are done applying those tweaks, we can then go ahead and actually exit out of the registry editor. And right there, we've actually enabled a secret gaming mode within inside of Windows, which actually prioritizes gaming applications and further boosts the performance of both our CPU and GPU and gives a higher prioritization to gaming applications within inside of Windows. Proceeding on from there, we're then going to be applying some Windows audio fixes to ensure that we've got one-to-one audio within inside of Windows, and we're not stressing the CPU by putting any excess audio post-processing on it to ensure that we're getting the best FPS possible and not causing any stuttering or latency issues when playbacking game audio files potentially at different bit rates. This might sound a little bit confusing, but it's actually very simple to do and very easy and very effective. So to do this, simply navigate to the bottom right-hand side and right-click on your speaker icon. Then go ahead to the Playback Devices tab. And on the side of here, we're then going to be finding our speakers in which we're using to listen to this video or play our games. They'll usually be the ones with the green tick next to it, and you should also be seeing the audio levels within the side of here from this video. Once you guys have then found which your audio output is or the speakers in which you're using, simply go ahead and right click on them, go to Properties, and then on the side of here, we're going to be starting off by going to the Enhancements tab at the top. Inside of here, we're then going to be checking the checkbox at the top here for disable all sound effects, then press apply, and then navigating to the top hand side to the advanced tab, and then going to default format, and when inside of here, we're then going to be going to the drop down menu and scrolling all the way to the top to where it says 16-bit 44,100 Hz CD quality. We're then going to be checking that. Once it's unchecked, also go ahead to the bottom right hand side, press apply, and then press OK, and then press OK once again. Now the main reason we've gone ahead and actually applied those audio fixes is just to ensure that we're not having any excess post-processing or sound effects put onto our audio, to ensure that we're getting a one-to-one audio experience with inside of Windows, and all of the game files that might be playing back at certain frequencies don't have to be altered or changed to ensure that you're getting the best audio experience possible, as we're not adding any post-processing in. Proceeding on from there, we're then going to be applying some optimizations to our Windows power options to ensure that we're getting the best FPS possible inside of the game, to ensure that our hardware can best be utilized and no throttling with inside of Windows can occur. So to do this, it's very simple to do. Simply navigate to the bottom left hand side and type in power. Then you guys can go ahead and proceed to click on any of the battery with the coil around it icons. Whichever one comes up, it doesn't matter, just click on it as long as it has that icon. Then navigate to the power options found here at the top. Then go ahead to the show additional power plan setting found here, just by simply clicking the down arrow, and find the high performance power plan. Once you guys have found it, make sure that you go ahead and check it. Then on the side of there, go ahead to the change plan settings button alongside it. You guys can set these two options to whichever you wish to do so. They're completely personal preference, so set them to whichever you wish to do so. But what we're interested in doing is going to the change advanced power settings found here. With inside of here, we're going to be starting off by going into the hard disk option, pressing plus, going into turn off hard disk after, pressing plus again, and then going to the setting. This will usually be set to around about 20 minutes by default. Just simply go ahead and double click, and we're going to be setting this to 0. Once you guys have then set that, go ahead and press apply in the bottom right hand side. Go into processor power management, go into minimum processor state and maximum processor state, and ensure they are both set to 100%. If they're not, simply go ahead and double click on the blue text and set the value to 100, then press apply, make sure they're both set to that, and then press OK. You guys can then go ahead and press save changes on the power options. You can then exit out. Following on from the power tweaks, we're now going to be going ahead and actually unparking our CPU to ensure that Windows isn't throttling or using any excess CPU cores for other programs running in the background. This basically means that the game application has access to all of your CPU cores at 100% of the speed whenever it needs to do so. So if anything chaotic might happen inside of your game and your CPU usage spikes to 100%, but Windows is only allowing 80% of that to go through, that's usually where you'll find some CPU stuttering and some bottlenecking. By unparking your CPU cores, 100% of your processor is available to the game whenever it needs it. Doesn't mean it's always going to be using it, but for any of those chaotic moments or whenever the game actually needs to have a little bit extra juice, it's not being held back and has full access to everything in which your system has. So to do this, it's very simple and easy to do. Simply go into the FPS pack provided. Then on the side of here, you can actually go into the credits.txt and find the original author's website, which is the CoderBag website. You can find the original download links for this, and you can also find a more in-depth explanation as to what this does alongside the latest updates of the program. You can also pay some credits over there and just check out the website of the original author and pay credit over to them. But to install this, we're going to be going ahead to the optimizations folder, then going into the CPU core parking setup version 2010 and double clicking. Then inside of here, we're then going to be following the on-screen wizard setup by pressing next, accepting the terms to the license agreement and pressing next, installing it to the default location, press next, and then press install. Inside of here, make sure that launch CPU core parking through to Exe is then highlighted and then press finish. Once the program then opens up, your program might not look similar to this, as I have already applied these tweaks previously on this machine. It might look a little bit different to this, but that's completely fine as we're going to be going ahead and tweaking them anyway. So once you guys are inside of here, we're then going to be starting off by going to the power data plan found here on the left hand side. Click on the drop down menu and make sure that you go ahead and select high performance, as that is the Windows power option we are now running on. Going over to the CPU data core parking index found here on the left hand side. This will more than likely not be set to 100% for you guys, so what you guys want to go ahead and do is simply grab that notch and drag it all the way to the right hand side to 100%. This will unpark all of the CPU cores inside of your system, so allow Windows to have 100% of your CPU core usage. Then we're going to be going over to the right hand side here to frequency scaling index and doing the same thing by dragging that all the way up to 100% as well. That will mean that it can then run at 100% of the frequency with 100% of the CPU cores as and when it needs it. Once you guys have then set that to high performance and both of them to 100%, go ahead and press apply and then press OK. You guys can also find out some basic information about your system specs inside of here, find out what processor you're running, what speed it's running at, and just some basic system info if you guys are not sure about what sort of system specs you do have. It might just be a little bit interesting for you. But then once that's been applied and you've pressed OK, we're then done with inside of the CPU core parking manager, and we can then exit out of the program. And proceeding on from that step, we're now going to be going ahead and actually applying some optimizations to the Windows settings themselves. So to do this, simply go to the bottom left hand side and then type in this PC. Right click on this PC and go to Properties. Then on the side of the System tab, which opens up here, go to the left hand side and click on Advanced System Settings. Inside of the tab that opens up, go to the Advanced tab at the top, go to Performance and click Settings. We're going to be starting off by going to the visual effects tab inside of here, then going ahead and clicking on custom, and unchecking pretty much every single option within inside of here, from the top to the bottom, and the only ones we wish to keep enabled are smooth edges of screen fonts and show thumbnails instead of icons. I personally like to turn off smooth edges of screen fonts as well, as I prefer the rougher look of the text on Windows. A lot of people in my videos often ask how I get that sort of rougher looking text inside of Windows, and that's how you do it. That's completely personal preference. You guys can keep that on or turn it off if you wish to do so. But if you want your text looking like normal, make sure you keep it on. I'm going to be turning it off, which you guys will then set all of those options how I have there. Simply go ahead and press apply. Then go up to the advanced tab found here at the top, go to processor scheduling, set the adjust best performance of programs on the left hand side, and we can then proceed to go to the virtual memory tab and click change. Now if you guys haven't altered around with any of the settings inside of here before, this will usually be set to automatically manage paging file size for all drives. What you guys want to go ahead and do is actually uncheck that option there. And what we can then go ahead and do is actually set our paging file properly within the side of our system to make sure that we're getting the best performance possible. This might sound a little bit complicated, especially for you guys who are not sure what I'm going on about. Just simply follow the on-screen instructions and you guys should be getting better performance. So starting off, what we're going to be doing is actually removing any old paging files within the side of here, clearing them all out to ensure that we can then go ahead and set them up properly. So starting off with all of the drives here at the top, you might have one, you might have two, three, or maybe even more than what I do here. But starting off from the top to the bottom, we're going to highlight the first drive we see, which for me is the C drive. And we're going to be going down to no paging file and then pressing set, then pressing yes. And we're going to proceed to do that for all of the drives in here. So highlight the next drive down, no paging file, set, and keep doing that until all of the files have then been set to no paging file. Then once you guys have removed any older paging files from inside of your system, you can now look on the right hand side of the screen and listen to the explanation I'm going to be giving you guys, so you guys can actually go ahead and actually find out where you're going to be installing your paging file based on what your system specs are. So simply go ahead and follow the first steps you can within inside of the criteria I'm about to go through now. So the best case scenario for installing a page file will actually be on an SSD. So if your system has an SSD, we're going to be installing our page file to that no matter what. If you guys don't have an SSD within inside of your system, but you have multiple hard drives within inside of your system, we want to then set our page file to the hard drive in which does not have our games installed to. And finally, for any of you guys who are just running with the one hard drive within inside of your system or the one SSD, we're going to be installing our page file to that. So going off of the criteria I've just gone through, this system here has an SSD installed to it and multiple hard drives, so we're going to be installing our page file to the SSD. Again, going on the criteria on the right hand side of the screen now, find out which one applies to you first and go with that. So for me, I'm going to be installing it to an SSD, which is my C drive. So now that I found out what my drive is, I'm going to be going ahead highlighting the C drive, then going down to System Manage Size, and then clicking Set. Once that's then set, simply go ahead and press OK. You'll then notify that a restart will then be required for the changes to take effect. That's absolutely fine, just go ahead and press OK, then press Apply, and then finally press OK. You can then press OK with inside of the system properties, and we're going to be going ahead with the restart later option, as we're going to be restarting our system after all of the optimizations have been applied. Moving on from there, we can then apply some basic system maintenance to ensure that we're freeing up any hard disk space or SSD space, and also decluttering our systems to both help speed up your system and also decrease loading times, and this can also help with any FPS stuttering you might be having as well. It's very fast and simple to do. Simply navigate to the bottom left hand side. We're going to be typing in %appdata %, just like so, and then pressing enter. Then on the side of it, we're then going to be going to the app data folder found here at the top, then going ahead to the local tab found here at the top, double clicking. We're then going to be going down and scrolling all the way down until we find a folder called temp or temp. On the side of the temp folder, simply go ahead and double click. And then on the side of here, we're then going to be going ahead and actually highlighting every single folder and file in here. There might be a lot more than I have, as I only cleared out this folder around about 6 days ago or so. But for the majority of you guys who haven't done this before in your systems, this folder would not have been cleared out or anything would have been deleted from it from the moment you actually went and installed Windows. So depending on how old your Windows install is, this folder can be absolutely huge. So once you guys got all of the folders and files within inside of here highlighted, simply go ahead, right click and press delete. It'll then notify that the action cannot be completed for all folders and files within inside of here. Simply hit do this for all current items and hit skip. And if it asks you to do that again, just simply go ahead and check the option again. Then on the side of this folder, the only folders and files remaining inside of here are the only ones actually being used by Windows. Everything else that has been deleted is an excess caching file, dumping file, or just excess storage that has just been sat there from excess programs in which you are no longer even using, or Windows is using either. It's usually at this point in the video I get you guys to go into the comment section down below and actually let me know how much you managed to remove, as some of the stories with removing files in the temp folder can be absolutely nuts, and I've had around about 50+ gigabytes at points. So it's always fun fun getting a discussion going on down in the comment section down below and getting some feedback from you guys. It's absolutely insane how much you can actually remove from here. So once you guys have gone ahead and actually cleared that out, I then like to go ahead and close out of there, and I like to go to the recycling bin and actually hit empty recycling bin, and I like to press yes. Then once you guys have actually gone ahead and installed the latest updates for your GPU drivers, I'm also going to be including a card on screen now and also a link in the description down below to my GPU overclocking guide. Gone are the days of GPU overclocking being sketchy or risky. It's very simple to do and it's very easy to follow, and I can guarantee pretty much every single person watching this video can go and get FPS games of anywhere from around about 10% all the way up to around about 35 to 50% on any game they're playing, just with a few clicks of a button, if you guys wish to actually go ahead and invest the time to watch that video. The feedback and reviews that video is getting is absolutely phenomenal. It's climbing up to one of the best overclocking guides within inside of YouTube for GPU overclocking. It's so simple and fast and easy to follow, and I highly recommend every single person watching this video to invest the time to actually go ahead and find what your max GPU overclock is. It's no longer a sketchy business. It's very, very easy and simple to do, and I recommend everyone going ahead and following along with that guide from this point on. So whether or not you guys have decided to follow along with the GPU overclocking guide, we're now going to be continuing on with the last steps of this video. And for any of you guys running on an Nvidia GPU, you can actually go ahead and apply some extra optimizations which I've included by simply going into the FPS pack provided and going into the optimizations folder and going into the Nvidia settings folder. Inside of here, you'll then find screenshots for the Nvidia control panel, which you can open by right clicking, going to Nvidia control panel. I'm not going to be following them in this video as they are very simple and easy to follow and very straightforward to the point, and they're only for Nvidia users. So again, anyone with an Nvidia card, make sure you go ahead and follow those. And then at this point in the video, we are now done with all of the optimizations and tweaking with inside of Windows, and we're now ready to go ahead and actually restart our systems. So go ahead, reboot your system, come back to the video, and we can then proceed on to actually booting into the game as we're now done. Welcome back to the video, guys. You guys should have now restarted your systems and we should be good to go and actually go ahead and play our game. Now with the last step inside of this guide, we're going to be going into the FPS pack provided one last time, going into the optimizations folder and getting the time resolution application with inside of here and dragging it to the desktop. You're probably wondering what this program does. What this program does is basically lowers the amount of latency between the hardware inside of your system, the application itself, and your operating system, ensuring that there's less time between instructions to make sure that you guys are getting the lowest amount of input lag possible, and it can also help increase FPS and lower any stuttering. I run this program whilst I'm running any of my editing programs and all of my games, just to ensure that I'm getting the fastest response time possible inside of them, and I recommend you do the same. This program doesn't just work for Rainbow Six Vegas, it works for pretty much everything out there, and I can almost guarantee you guys will be seeing results across the board. So to use this program, it's very simple. What you guys want to go ahead and do is double click on the program. Then once you're inside of the program, go ahead and press the maximum button. You can then minimize the program, play your game or application for however long you wish to do so. Once you're then done, go ahead and maximize the program, click default, and you can then exit out. And seeing we're about to actually go ahead and boot into Rainbow Six Vegas and we're now done with all of the steps from inside of this guide, we're going to be going into time resolution and pressing maximum. Minimizing the program, then going into Steam or Uplay, and all there is left to do now is go ahead and hit play. And there you guys have it, my highly requested and anticipated updated version of the Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for Rainbow Six Siege. For any of you guys who followed my previous video on Rainbow Six Siege, you should be seeing some great performance increases from that. And if you guys haven't actually followed any of my content before, or you haven't previously followed my older FPS Increase Guide for Rainbow Six Siege, you should be seeing some phenomenal results. And talking of results, if you guys can leave any results down in the comment section down below, that would always be appreciated, as it's fantastic hearing from you guys, alongside any questions, queries or suggestions if you wish to leave them. Again, for any of you guys who do appreciate the work I do, that Patreon link is also down in that description down below for any of you guys who wish to further support the channel. But again, I must stress it's not necessary, and it's only for you guys there who wish to further support the work I do and keep me being able to do it on a more frequent basis. If you guys could also hit that subscription button on the channel and also press that bell notification to be notified whenever I upload, whether that be an updated guide to an older FPS increase guide with further optimizations, a brand new guide altogether, how-tos for pretty much anything to do with tech, PC gaming, laptop gaming, mobile gaming, or just overall performance with inside of those devices, this is pretty much the one stop with inside of YouTube to help ensure that I'm getting you guys the best results with the fastest and simplest and easiest videos to follow as possible. Thank you very much guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Hopefully the results are more than worth it for you guys. And again, if you guys can hit that like button if you are happy with it, that'd be deeply appreciated. Thank you very much for watching guys. I've been Panjano, and I am out.